passing by. Today there is a court case for teachers who were fired for declining a COVID shot. And because they declined that shot, they weren't allowed any due process afforded to all other teachers. That is why we are here today.
We, the people, will not comply.
Switch it up. End all mandates.
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 Yes.
That's the way it is.
Again, that's all right. Thank you, everyone. Again, this has nothing to do with me. This has to do with all of you. And I really do hope that the law is served. You are all teachers. You could have written it in crayon. A tenure teacher shall not be terminated or removed. You did nothing wrong. Retrospectively, I think I should have brought up the idea that if you would have submitted a fraudulent vaccine card, you would have got a hearing and still have your job.
Yeah.
It's in the brief, so you don't have to worry about it. But it's just, that's not how our system of justice that I was taught should be. And I hope justice will finally get served today, and then we'll be able to take that and get all you guys your jobs back.
Did a great job, Jimmy.
I'm here at the New York State Court of Appeals with Rachel Maniscalco, and we just came out of a rather lengthy hearing. We were in there for several hours because your case came up. It was the last case to be argued before a panel of 7 justices on the highest court in the state, in the New York State court system. Tell us about the cases that were being argued today.
So there are 8 of us. It's not a class action, but Jimmy Wagner is the attorney. He was able to kind of group us. We're all similarly situated though. Some of us have 10 years on, like I do, and some have many more years. One of the plaintiffs actually has 22 years, and she had to move to Florida because she lost everything. And so she flew up for the case. So we're all together, tenured teachers with no due process, with no formal charge. And many of us, I think most of us, if not all, did not sign any of the waivers that were offered to us. So we did not get to keep our health insurance. We didn't get to cash out 100% of our car days. And we were effectively terminated. And I know from personal experience, I was put on leave in October of 2021. I was terminated by email in August of 2022. And I did not resign. I was not voluntarily resigned or involuntarily resigned. I was terminated. And I was terminated after 10 years of exemplary service with not a letter in my file, nothing against me, no formal charge, and no hearing.
What has it been like for you and the other plaintiffs over this lengthy period as these cases make their way through the court system?
It's been really hell for a lot of us. Like I said, some of us have lost our homes and had to move. I lost my job in October 2021. My daughter, who's now 3, was just a few months old. And work was very scarce for the unvaccinated. I had to take all of my money out of my retirement. I eventually cashed in on the days that I had accrued in my absent bank. As a teacher of 10 years, I barely ever took a sick day. And even when I was pregnant, I went in through COVID up until the very last day that I could, right before I gave birth. and I had about 60 days in my bank. I had to cash them out and get paid out for 50% of them. So, taking odd jobs, tutoring, bartending, finding work in an office, it was very taxing. It was very hard on my family, very hard on my marriage. My husband, thank God, was able to maintain employment. He works for a private company right outside of the border of the city, so there was no mandate for him. And we were able to keep our house, and it threw us into a lot of debt that we're finally kind of crawling out of that hole from 3 years later. And while they took away our jobs, they didn't take away our licenses. So I eventually, when the mandate was dropped, I was able to find work as a special education service provider. Now, what that means is it's contract work. Every year it's a different contract, maybe a different school, maybe a different agency, with no pension and no health insurance and no security. And so the things that I valued, being a Department of Education teacher, the security, so I thought, and the health insurance for my family, we no longer have. So it is day to day, and it's very, very hard to live in the city not knowing what the next day will bring. So that's, we've managed, thank God, but it has been incredibly tenuous and stressful. For them to throw away seasoned, veteran teachers who know what they're doing, who get good results, who don't have, no one has a bad thing to say about us. It's just criminal. Even if we don't win here, I feel like we won overall, because I could never have done something, I could have never done that. I could not have gotten the shot or faked it. And I feel good about the decision I made, and I made for my family, and my family made as a whole. And, and this affects everyone. It's tenure law, it's education law, but it affects every teacher and every probationary civil servant. Once you are off probation, you should have the protections of your union. You should have the protections of a professional license or a permanent license. And so people really need to understand that, what happens here today affects us all. And I know that I feel good about it, regardless of the outcome. But also, if we lose, tenure is effectively gone forever.
You just argued before a panel of 7 justices on the highest court in the state of New York. Tell us about the cases that you were arguing for today.
The cases were unique, and as one of the lower court judges said in their decision, a novel idea, in that I argued for tenure teachers' protections. It's not a novel idea. State Education Law 3020, which has been in place has a genesis from 1897 in New York City. It's for tenure teachers. Tenure teachers cannot be disciplined or removed except pursuant to the procedures outlined in 3020. That's what I've been arguing since day number 1. Every court has come up with a different reason why they didn't need to follow the law on behalf of management, the DOE. Hopefully, these 7 judges who are the final say of the law in New York State will come finally to the right decision.
What implications could a decision in this case have, not just for teachers, but for workers in the state of New York?
I think the idea that retroactive conditions of employment eviscerate and remove due process protections from city municipal workers, statewide workers, I think is terrible. I think it's a very, very slippery slope, and if this court doesn't stop it right here, they're going to be barraged with cases of municipalities and government changing conditions of employment to get rid of for fiscal reasons.
Is there any final word that you'd like to say to New Yorkers out there about, who are following these cases, or maybe New Yorkers who don't even know that this is still going on?
These teachers, the mandate's been rescinded and they're still out of work. Do not believe the government propaganda that they could get back to work. It's a lie. These teachers are still out of work, along with thousands of other workers, police officers, sanitation, firemen, out of work. They did nothing wrong. And if they would have broke the law and submitted a fraudulent card, they still have their jobs. That's not how our system's supposed to work.